Welcome back to Ke Zaka Stokvel Insights, where we explore the world of stokvels and burial societies. Before the break, we touched on unit trusts investments for stokvel groups and the benefits of having both long-term and short-term investment vehicles with my guest expert, Anrich van Jaarsveld. Anrich, though stokvels aren't exactly asset management companies, they sort of have a similar function here. So why is it a wise step for this stokvel to invest in such legal entities?
I think for a stokvel to register as an asset management company, it comes with certain benefits. Firstly, being control of the assets or funds at their disposal. So if they use an external asset management company, the control lies with them. They don't have a say in anything. But if you are that asset management company, the control lies with you. So you get to make the decisions and align it with your investment strategy or the objective of that stokvel. Secondly, a reduction in costs. So keep in mind that if you are using an external asset management company, they're going to charge you a lot of fees. Management fees, withdrawal fees, and so on. So if you do that in-house, that's a reduction of all those fees and ultimately an increase on the return of your investment. And lastly, we said when we discussed unit trusts earlier, if you invest in those, that is managed by a group of professionals. So if you do this now in-house, you're going to be exposed to all of that and gain a lot of financial knowledge in doing that.
It sounds like, yes, you gain a lot of control, but there's risks associated to that as well. So what aren't they really looking at here that's associated with an asset management company?
Yeah, so what we discussed just now is all the upsides that we are taking from that company that we're not using anymore. But like you said, again, with that comes a lot of risk. So all the risks that the asset management company dealt with and you weren't exposed to, you now have to manage and control. So adhering to regulations, compliance, tax implications, all that they have to consider in order to maintain their status.
Now, they've basically started this process. They have registered their legal entity. What is the process involved with this transition? Because they do need advice when it comes to financial management. They do need advice when it comes to the legalities and the regulations, as you've mentioned. What's the process here? What are the steps?
I think regardless of the level of expertise within the members of a stokvel, I'd highly recommend that they consult with experts in each one of those fields. So tax experts, law experts, just to ensure that there's not any implications further down the line that could hinder the performance of a stokvel or any consequences to its members.
So Anrich, can you please just take us through, the processes involved when it comes to this transition of now moving from, a stokvel to you now becoming an asset management company? It cannot be easy. What should they consider?
Yeah, I think in this process of transition, I think regardless of the level of expertise within the stokvel, the people managing the stokvel and the members, I'd highly recommend that they consult with experts in those specific areas. So in terms of tax, review and go to a tax expert. In terms of compliance officers, so just to make sure that everything's in order and there's not going to be any implications or consequences down the line for the stokvel itself or its members.
Just speaking on, tax and compliance, what are some of the regulations that they also need to take into consideration?
So if you are going to see yourself as an asset management company, I would think that there's an inclination towards generating a profit. So if you are looking at that, then you are going to be seen as a financial services provider and you'd have to register and comply with the FSCA. Financial Sector Conduct Authority. That's like the oversight or framework of financial services in South Africa. If you are going to provide any financial advice to the members of a stokvel, you also have to be phase compliant. Financial Advisor and Intermediary Services Act. And also, I would assume there's going to be a lot of processing of information of the stokvel members, so protecting that information in terms of the POPI Act, protection of personal information. So those are just some of the main factors you have to consider. And also because you're working with a lot of inflow and outflow of cash or funds, you also have to comply with FICA to combat the effects of potential money laundering. So those are the main compliances and legislation you have to consider.
Does this mean that as individuals, they would also need to be financial advisors themselves in order to sort of gain more traction and more trust from their members as well, that they know exactly what they're doing? Because it sounds like they know what they're doing, but would you need that form of profession and backing?
Definitely. So before all these legislation and regulations got introduced, FACE, FICA, all those things, the financial service industry was highly unregulated. So I could have been not exposed or have any financial knowledge at all, and tomorrow I could go out and provide financial advice to individuals, which is, if you think back to it now, highly worrisome. So the reason for the introduction of all these legislation and regulations is to prevent people from losing their money. To trust, if you go to a financial advisor, you can trust their opinion and know that you're getting correct and accurate advice. So if they are to consider giving financial advice to their members or prospective members, then they have to comply with all these regulations as well in order to provide financial advice.
And that is quite clear. I mean, you touched on, some institutions or platforms such as FICA, FSCA. What other organizations should Indzuzo look at when it comes to, getting more legal information so that they are more confident as well, especially when it comes to the distribution of shares, that there's no conflict when it comes to that? What platforms can they go to?
Yeah, again, corporate finance or shares, that isn't my field of expertise. So again, I'd recommend them go to an expert or someone that they trust in that field. They can provide them with accurate and correct information in order to prevent any issues further down the line.
Now, from your perspective, Anrich, is 70 already a good number here? Can they go further?
I think, as I mentioned at the start of the interview, if you can get to 70 in 2 years, I think that's a magnificent feat in management and sourcing new members and the level of trust, because no one's going to join with Stokvel if it's not going to be trust between the members. So I see no reason going forward that they could almost double their number of members within the next 5 years or so.
Well, we will be back after this short break. Stay tuned for more on Ke Zaka Stokvel Insights. Are you a member of a stokvel or burial society? We at Thai Vision Media specialize in helping stokvels and burial societies. Contact us for professional stokvel and burial society administration, access to investments and funeral cover experts, and credible financial information. We will help your stokvel and burial society to achieve your goals and grow. Contact us today.